All right, Dusty, we've got the fun job today of breaking down how to cook a whole deer.
Heck yeah.
There's one thing with cooking any form of animal or protein or whatever is like, how do you add flavor into that? In particular with game meat, it tends to be very lean, so you don't have fat in it to get to give you flavor. So I sometimes like to add it in through rubs, through brining my meat, and then also you can mop it. So I've actually never tried it, but I figured we would make a mop for one of our animals. We're gonna do a dry brine, and then we're also gonna do a wet brine.
Right on.
So let's get into making a dry brine for our whole whitetail deer.
All right.
First up, I've got a bunch of spices and herbs here. A lot of people, when they go to make a dry brine, they will typically make it more of a like chili, paprika based rub. And when I say dry brine, like it's literally like a rub. So I don't know if you've been in a lot of the like, you know, barbecue places and stuff, you'll find those bottles of like the rubs and stuff you put on your steak and stuff. Well, it's simply just a bunch of herbs like put together. Okay. So you can actually make your own, and it's really fun to be playing around with that. So yeah, I would suggest grabbing a mortar and pestle. So I've got a few interesting things to play with, and I thought we would just discuss what flavors we want to add into this. So I've actually got some Tasmanian wasabi. So this is dried wasabi powder. This is how I approach a lot of cooking and adding flavor. Like I'll smell it, I'll taste it, I'll imagine what it's gonna what's gonna happen when it cooks. So I really encourage you guys to not be like just taking another person's product and not really thinking about what's in it. It's a really good idea to start to like have a little bit of fun, you know, and try things out. I've also got some like smoked paprika. So I particularly really like a smoked paprika over just like a straight sweet paprika or something, particularly when we're cooking it on the fire, because it adds just another, like it's very mellow. Then I've also got some wood fire smoked chili here, which has actually got a fair bit of kick in it. So as I say that, just be careful. You kind of want to salt a rim of a margarita, like glass with that.
It's only got a little kick like, to it. I can taste it now.
I've got some dried onion powder. I've got some fennel seeds. You can smell that. It kind of has a slight anise, like aniseedy smell. I've actually got aniseed seeds as well, which is like a licorice kind of flavor.
No, yeah, you can really smell it. So like that black licorice.
Yeah, really black licorice kind of. And then I've got some brown sugar, which is kind of your base ingredient for a lot of your rubs. And then we've obviously got some sea salt here. Now our animal is quite big, so we're gonna need. How many pounds is it?
Dressed right now, it's probably about 60 pounds, 70
60 pounds. So we got a fair bit of meat we got to cover with this dry rub. So we're going to be using fairly generous amounts of this. So deer meat tends to be sweet. It tends to be lean. We don't want to overpower the flavor of it by adding anything that's too overly spicy. Or anything that's like too tomatoey. So we're gonna add all of this into there. I'd say that's like probably a cup. You wanna toss that in, just like break it up with your hands, just dry it out a little bit in the sun here. We're definitely gonna add a bunch of like our flaked sea salt. So the thing with the sea salt is that it's not like normal household salt. This is literally dehydrated ocean water, and so the flavor is going to be a lot softer, not as like salty and strong, so you could actually be a lot more generous with it. So if you were using normal table salt, you'd probably use half the amount of what you would to this. So I prefer using this quality, particularly with deer meat or any game. It tends to be just very delicate, and you don't want to like overpower it with salt, because you can season it when you've cooked it and you go to slice it up. Like you can add that extra little punch if you need it.
Okay.
I really love the idea of adding fennel into this. You know, deer typically eat like grass and like, what else do they eat? I don't know.
Shoot, I feel like it's grass.
Grass, yeah. So they're eating like the land. So I often think sometimes those like really like strong grassy flavors could be really nice with it. So if you want to like pound that up, so we're going to break the seeds up, because if we were to add that straight on there like that, it's just going to fall off in the fire. So we want to make it more of a like a powder format. I really love the idea of adding a little bit of onion into there. So I'm going to dump all of that in. That's probably 1/3 of a cup. And I'm actually gonna steer away from the paprika, and I'm gonna be a little wild, and I'm gonna add some wasabi powder in. So wasabi obviously has that natural little kick to it. So I put about a third in there, and then I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of this smoked chili.
Is the Tasmanian wasabi any different than what you'd find in like your standard sushi restaurant?
Yeah, so actually what's quite interesting about a lot of that wasabi that you see is actually horseradish.
Okay.
So it's not even proper wasabi. So this is like legitimate wasabi root, like grown. And funnily enough, it grows in Tasmania, which is kind of cool. The wild, wild west down there.
Heck yeah.
So Dusty's like grinding all this up as best as he can. He's getting his muscles into it. I'm gonna grab this little butcher's cleaver here and just break up some of this sage. And then while this steer is cooking, I'm going to be basting it in ghee, which is clarified butter. And I'm pretty sure if you guys have been following me for a while, you all know that I'm a little like butter obsessed. Hey, what do you want? Huh? All the dogs love us. Now I actually just had another little idea. So I'm going to dump some sage in there. So I'm going to add some orange rind into it as well. Just for, you know, why not? So the orange, you wouldn't want to use the juice of the orange. The reason being is acid starts to break things down and cook things, and I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of black pepper and put that in there. A lot of people, when they're cooking as well with pepper, like, you know, you'll season your steak, and a lot of people will go salt and pepper, and they'll kind of think that that's seasoning. Like, pepper is a spice, you know, it really does add a lot of heat to things. So I typically don't use pepper a lot as just like salt and pepper seasoning. I will use it as a spice. So we're going to use this to add a little bit of like depth of heat into our dish.
Right on.
All right, so how's it? I think that's looking good. Dump her in.
Cool.
And let's give it a little mix with your hands. I'm such a fan of using like the tools that God gave us to cook with, because there's nothing quite like being able to feel texture and like feel, you know, just even the meat and the way it's sort of, you get like, it's very sensory. Cooking is very sensory. It shouldn't be tongs and, you know, pans and all this sort of stuff. That you should be able to like experience it. By pounding things and like, you know, chopping like I did, you're opening up all those oils. So you can smell that. Like, and I just think when you smell something, you're going to go, oh, that smells like it's going to taste good, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you smell that and go, oh, I want to eat that?
Yeah, I do want to eat that.
Well, you know, it's not rocket science. It's just like, well, it smells good. I want to eat it. It's going to taste good.
I can smell that wasabi.
Oh, yeah, right?
That's cool.
Okay, cool. So we're at a point now where we've got plenty of dry rub. We've made our first step, and we can probably pull that girl out.
All right, let's do it.
So we're going to do 2 tripods with a pole over the top. We're going to suspend the deer over the fire. So whenever I cook my deer, it's always bones to the fire first. The bones help protect the meat. And so we are going to essentially, like, the deer's all closed up. We need to butterfly it open so we can lay flat. Mm-hmm. And so first step will be to butterfly it open. Second step will be to add all the rub. And then we're going to pop it back in the kill bag for an overnight sort of dry brine to give it some flavor. And then we will get cooking.
Right on.
Okay. So this is our buddy Ethan. You live around here?
Now I do.
Now he does.
As of last week.
Right on.
Just finished converting a barn into a house.
Okay, sweet. So our next cook up is at your barn.
Thank you.
I hope so.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers.
Salute. Ooh.
Smells good.
That's it. Yeah, we needed that. Okay, so we got this whole deer. It's looking a bit aggressive. There is a reason I left the head on it. And its hoofs. a part of like this whole animal process and cooking whole animal, and why I love it so much, is it really makes you connect again with the fact that this was a life, that this was something that lived on the land, that, you know, it survived like generations and like thousands of years and has like made it here today. So I think it's kind of a cool way of making people like connect a little bit more with the reality.
It's been lost over the past however many decades.
It
You know,
sure
it's
has.
like everything's so accessible.
Yep. So, you know, you can totally cook the head as well. We're going to butterfly this open, hang it up, and have a bunch of people over and enjoy the life that was given to us.
Yep.
Okay, so first up, we are going to need to basically split open the cavity here, so that we are wanting to like butterfly this open. And so the way we're going to do that is also like break the ribs of it.
So here,
Okay. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're using what we call a meat cleaver. And this is essentially just a really strong piece of metal that a lot of knives you have in your kitchen will have flex in it, which is not what we want. And we also don't want to be chipping a lot of our blades. So you need a meat cleaver, and then we use the back of his little axe to just apply pressure to break through the backbones here. And so I'm just going to cut this down here a little. So what we're trying to do is open it up enough so when it lies on the plank of wood, we're going to cut this down here as well. It's going to like get enough like even heat. So then this back bit, then you can just like kind of bust out the little bones from the socket.
Explain his processes.
See how this is kind of like what we're looking for, where
I
it
see.
breaks away here like this did.
Interesting.
Okay, I think that's pretty
Good enough?
good.
Wow.
So then you can just get your hands and
start rubbing it
rub
in.
it in as best as you can. All right, so I just want to like make a little point here. You can see that this animal is very lean, doesn't have a lot of fat, but there is little pockets in here. Now, I wouldn't cut this off. I really like to leave as much as I can on my deer or whatever it is that I'm cooking, even when I'm going to cook beef and stuff, because all that flavor is going to render down and it's going to actually soak into the flesh of this deer and give it flavor. And even though it doesn't have a lot of fat, it has a little bit, and we want to like keep as much of this as we can. As soon as it hits the fire, all that flavor is going to go into this meat, and it's going to taste primo. Okay, so we have now butterflied it and add a little bit of olive oil in our dry rub. We are going to put this back into the kill bag. We're going to line it with some parchment paper and then put it on top of the ice so it can just sit overnight in the garage, getting ready to be hung tomorrow. So I think this looks fantastic.
It looks good.
Wow. Never done that before.
Okay, you learned something new?
Yeah, really cool.
Well, thank you. Thanks for bringing us some tequila to get through the
love it.
process.
Heck yeah, I'm stoked
All
to
right.
hear.
We shall leave this overnight, and then we're gonna jump to how to actually get this thing rigged up, ready to cook on the fire.